fuck off home!
Shell United, fuck off home! Shell United, fuck off home! Shell United, fuck off home!
Hi there, despite what you may have heard elsewhere this week, I do believe the Glazer family have decided not to sell Manchester United Football Club. While I was in America on our pre-season tour, we heard from Glazer associates who told us the owners believe there's more money to be made by staying in control. And everything I've seen and heard since tells me the Glazers really want to stay. And they won't be swayed by fan protests either. So, this weekend fans will stage a sit-in after our Premier League match against Nottingham Forest. It's a protest I do expect will receive more media attention than previous protests outside the ground. But this, I fear, is not a protest that will have any effect whatsoever on making the Glazers sell the football club. Unless they suddenly receive a hugely increased offer, their mind, I do believe, is made up. What the protest may do is help to trigger more signings before the transfer deadline shuts. And that's something Erik ten Hag desperately needs, because it's clear we're still at least a couple of players short. And without the right squad, Ten Hag may struggle to emulate last season. As the realisation grows that the Glazers have decided to stay, I expect protests will intensify, and this never-ending saga will continue to destabilise the club. But how did we get here? A year ago, Manchester United Football Club made our worst start in Premier League history. With the club in decline both on and off the pitch, it should have been the cue for the Glazers to sell up and get out of our football club. Instead, the owners were emboldened by success on the pitch. New manager Erik ten Hag stopped the rot and overachieved with silverware and a top four finish in his first season. When the Glazers announced they were inviting investors to make their bids, fans believed the world's most unpopular owners were finally selling. In November 2022, when they appointed the Rain Group to explore options, I do believe the Glazers were genuinely considering moving on. But the Glazers have changed their minds. They've not received an offer they simply can't turn down from Sheikh Jassim or Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and they've convinced themselves there's an even bigger pot of gold at stake if they can refinance and stay in control. Sitting thousands of miles away from Old Trafford, they're unmoved by fan protests. But that doesn't mean supporters will be silenced. Far from it.
I say Stretford End Arising! I say trouble on the way! Don't go tonight unless you're in white! I say trouble on the way!
On the opening day of the season, men, women and children made their voices heard. Even rival fans know the Glazers are holding back our football club. And that is the reality. The Glazers hide behind a management team doing their best to navigate our football club's return to the glory days. But every major decision has to be signed off by the men in America, whether it's signing a new player or keeping Mason Greenwood. And the way the club have handled the Greenwood saga is symptomatic of the way the Glazers run our football club. It's money first, above all other considerations. That's their mantra, and it's also the changing face of football that's behind the Glazers' renewed desire to tough it out and stay in control. In America on our pre-season tour, the Glazers weren't visible, but we saw once again the remarkable global support for our football club. Even more significantly, soccer's popularity is reaching an all-time high in the United States, and that increases the money in the game. We saw record attendances in the MLS last season, and Messi joining David Beckham's Inter Miami will boost attendances even more as America prepares to stage the next FIFA World Cup. Even the Wrexham story created by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney is driving American interest in real football. The bottom line is that football's global appeal is growing, and that means the money tree is growing too. Meantime, the billions being poured into football by Saudi Arabia is changing the whole landscape of the game. The Super League fiasco championed by the Glazers crashed and burned 2 years ago. But how long will it be before the Saudis try to take control of the game itself by underwriting a world league of football? With European giants Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus among those desperate for a way to compete with the commercial might of the English Premier League, I do believe there will be clubs open to new possibilities. Meantime, at Old Trafford, these are challenging times both on and off the pitch. As fans, we're wishing the best for new striker Rasmus Højlund. Hopefully the youngster will hit the ground running when he's fit to play. And hopefully that'll be this weekend against Nottingham Forest. But it's already been a frustrating start for new signing Mason Mount, who's now out injured. And with players on massive salaries like Harry Maguire reluctant to leave, it's not easy for Erik ten Hag to build on last season's success. He may find he needs to give more game time to our academy graduates. One of several youngsters who really caught my eye in the States was Hannibal Mejbri. Whether or not the 20-year-old Tunisian is ready for regular Premier League football, we may find out sooner rather than later. Whatever happens out on the pitch, the frustration of fans who've campaigned for new owners is going to increase if there's no full sale. Of that, I'm certain. The media turn this into a long-running soap opera by making stuff up based on leaked information from the competing parties and good old-fashioned guesswork. Only the Glazers truly know, of course, when this will all end. And they've never been good at sharing information. The Glazer brothers, Joel and Avram, love the status of being owners of the famous Manchester United Football Club. They love the money they've made out of our football heritage and global popularity. They also love the power and the recognition in their elite social circles. Last season we saw Avram Glazer basking in the glory of being a Manchester United owner at 3 cup finals. My fear is that this season it's going to be harder than ever to get back to Wembley or win any silverware. And failure to kick on from last season will only increase fan protests.